Commander Lisa Bennett stood at the bridge of the Earth ship Freedom, her eyes fixed on the massive alien vessel that had appeared just beyond Mars' orbit. After years of wondering if humanity was alone in the universe, they finally had their answer. The ship belonged to the Nexari Coalition, a group of alien species that had been watching Earth for the past decade. The alien ship was beautiful, with smooth lines that seemed to flow like water frozen in space. It was 5 times larger than the Freedom, and its hull sparkled with a strange, silvery material that Earth's sensors couldn't identify. Lisa felt her heart beating faster as she prepared for humanity's first official contact with alien life. "They're hailing us again," said Officer Paul Green, his fingers hovering over the communication controls. "Should I accept?" Lisa took a deep breath and nodded. "Open the channel." The main screen lit up, revealing a tall, elegant alien with pale blue skin and large, dark eyes. The alien's name was Ambassador Zelfor, and thanks to their universal translation technology, they could understand each other perfectly. "Commander Bennett," the alien spoke, its voice smooth and cultured. "The Nexari Coalition welcomes Earth to the galactic community." Lisa smiled diplomatically, but she noticed something in the ambassador's tone. It was the same tone people used when talking to small children. "We're honored to meet you, Ambassador. Earth looks forward to learning from the Coalition." The meeting that followed was both exciting and frustrating. The Nexari shared incredible information about the galaxy. There were over 50 intelligent species, thousands of inhabited worlds, and technology that seemed like magic to human eyes. But with each revelation came a subtle reminder of humanity's primitive status. "Your species has progressed remarkably fast," Zelfor said, displaying a hologram of Earth's technological timeline. "From basic flight to space travel in just over a century. Most species take 3 times as long." "We're quick learners," Lisa replied, keeping her voice neutral despite the condescension. The ambassador's expression shifted slightly. "Yes, particularly in military technology. The Coalition finds this concerning. Your weapons development rate is unusually high for such a young species." Lisa felt a chill run down her spine. This was the real reason for their visit. The Nexari weren't just making contact, they were assessing a potential threat. "War has shaped our history," she explained carefully. "It's driven much of our innovation." Indeed, Zelfor's large eyes studied her intently. "The Coalition offers Earth membership and protection. However, there would be certain restrictions, military limitations to ensure galactic stability." As Lisa listened to the proposed restrictions, her military training set off warning bells. The Nexari wanted Earth to reduce its fleet by 60%, share all military technology for review, and accept Coalition peacekeepers in Earth's solar system. "Your offer is generous," she said diplomatically. "Earth's leaders will need time to consider it." Later, alone in her quarters, Lisa recorded her personal log. "First contact day hasn't gone as expected," she spoke quietly. "The Nexari are advanced, yes, but they're also arrogant. They see us as primitives who need to be controlled. They don't understand that humanity's history of warfare isn't just about violence. It's about adaptation, innovation, and survival." She paused, looking out her window at the alien ship glowing in the distance. "They think our warlike nature makes us dangerous. Maybe they're right, but not in the way they imagine. We don't fight because we love violence. We fight because we've had to, and that's made us very, very good at it." The next few days would be crucial. Earth needed the Coalition's knowledge and technology, but not at the cost of its independence. As Lisa prepared for another meeting with the ambassador, she couldn't shake the feeling that humanity's primitive approach to warfare might prove more valuable than the Nexari suspected. What they saw as humanity's greatest weakness might just turn out to be its greatest strength. Kevin Martinez sat in his dimly lit office at Earth Defense Force headquarters, his eyes burning from staring at screens for the past 12 hours. As a senior military analyst, he had been tasked with studying the data the Nexari had shared about their coalition. But something didn't add up. Computer, show me the military capacity reports for the last 5 species that joined the coalition, he said, rubbing his tired eyes. The screens lit up with charts and graphs, displaying information about various alien civilizations. A pattern began to emerge. Each new member species showed the same trend, a sharp decline in military strength within their first decade of joining the coalition. The Nexeri called it peaceful adaptation, but Kevin saw something more sinister. "Sarah, take a look at this," he called to his colleague, Sarah White, who specialized in alien psychology. She walked over, her coffee cup in hand, and studied the screens. "Every species that joins them gets weaker," she said, frowning. "They all follow the same pattern. It's too perfect to be natural." Kevin nodded, pulling up more data. "And look at this. The Nexeri's own military hasn't decreased at all. In fact, it's grown stronger with each new member." As they dug deeper, they found more troubling information. The Coalition's peacekeepers were stationed in every member species' home system. Their technology sharing program was one-sided. Member species had to share everything, but the Nexeri kept their most advanced weapons secret. Then Kevin found something that made his blood run cold. Hidden in the vast database was information about another alien power, the Drachnid Empire. They were a warrior species that controlled a large portion of the galaxy's outer rim. The Coalition was keeping them at bay, but barely. "The Drachnids have been pushing at the Coalition's borders for years," Kevin explained to his superior, General Amy Peters, in an emergency meeting. "The Nexeri aren't just being cautious. They're scared." The general studied the holographic display showing the Drachnid Empire's territory. "So they weaken their member species to maintain control, but that same policy leaves them vulnerable to outside threats." "Yes, Mom. And there's more." Kevin brought up another display. "The Drachnids are getting bolder. They've doubled their fleet size in the past year alone. The Coalition's standardized defense protocols won't stand a chance if the Drachnids launch a full invasion. And if Earth agrees to the Coalition's terms, we'll be too weak to defend ourselves when that happens," Sarah added. General Peters stood up and walked to the window, looking out at the night sky where the Nexeri ships still orbited Earth. "So we're caught between 2 bad choices. If we don't join the Coalition, we face isolation in a dangerous galaxy. If we do join, we risk becoming defenseless when the real threat arrives." Kevin pulled up one final piece of data. There might be a third option. The Coalition is advanced, but their military thinking is rigid. They haven't fought a real war in centuries. Everything is protocols and procedures. "While we've been fighting and adapting our whole history," the general finished his thought. "Do you think we could find a way to work with the Coalition while keeping our military strength?" "Not openly," Kevin replied. "But if we're careful, we might be able to prepare for what's coming without them knowing." Sarah looked worried. "Won't they detect any major military activities? They're looking for their kind of military buildup, fleet expansions, energy weapons, shield technology. But humans have always been good at finding unexpected ways to fight." Kevin smiled grimly. "They think we're primitive. Let's use that to our advantage." As they began planning Earth's secret preparation program, Kevin couldn't help but feel a mix of pride and concern. The Nexeri had dismissed humanity as a primitive, violent species. Soon, they might learn that underestimating humans was a dangerous mistake. Admiral Susan Wright walked through the underground facility deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. The place didn't exist on any official maps, and the Nexeri's monitoring satellites saw nothing but empty mountain peaks above. This was where Earth would prepare for the storm that was coming. "Show me what you've done with the alien tech," she said to Dr. Eric Brown, the lead scientist of Project Shadow. They entered a large testing chamber where a group of engineers worked on what looked like normal military equipment. "This is our biggest breakthrough," Eric said, picking up what appeared to be a simple combat rifle. "We combine Nexeri energy systems with traditional human ballistic weapons. They'd never think to look for this because they consider projectile weapons primitive. Susan held the rifle, feeling its weight. Does it work? Eric smiled and pointed to a target. Try it. The Admiral aimed and pulled the trigger. The rifle fired normal bullets, but each one was surrounded by a shell of energy that made it hit 10 times harder than usual. The target, made of the same material as Nexeri ship armor, shattered. They're so focused on pure energy weapons that they forgot the basics of physics, Eric explained. Kinetic energy still works, even in space. In another part of the facility, Susan watched soldiers training with modified combat suits. The suits looked simple on the outside, but they contained hidden Nexeri technology that made them far more effective than they appeared. "We're teaching the troops to fight like our ancestors," said Major Bill Cooper, the training officer. "Guerrilla warfare, ambush tactics, things the Nexeri think we've outgrown. But we're doing it with advanced tech they don't expect us to have." Susan watched as a squad of soldiers practiced urban combat scenarios. They moved like shadows, using simple tools in clever ways. "The Nexeri think we're moving away from war," she said, "but we're just getting better at it." The next stop was the Space Warfare Division. Here, engineers were modifying Earth's ships in ways that would seem strange to the Coalition. Instead of building bigger ships with more energy weapons, they were making smaller, faster vessels that could hide and strike quickly. The Nexeri believe space battles should be fought at long range with energy weapons, explained Captain Laura Kelly, the space combat instructor. "But we've learned from Earth's naval history, sometimes getting close to your enemy is the best strategy." They had taken old submarine warfare tactics and adapted them for space. Earth's ships could now hide in asteroid fields or solar radiation storms, waiting to ambush larger vessels. It wasn't the way the Coalition fought wars, which made it perfect. The most important project was hidden in the deepest part of the facility. Here, scientists studied the few pieces of Drachnid technology they had managed to secretly acquire. The Drachnids were different from the Nexeri. They were warriors who understood the value of close combat and surprise attacks. "We're learning from both sides," Susan told her staff during a meeting. "The Nexeri's advanced technology and the Drachnid's aggressive tactics. But we're doing it our way, the human way." As she reviewed the progress reports that evening, Susan felt proud of what they had accomplished. In just 6 months, they had developed weapons and tactics that neither the Coalition nor the Drachnids would expect. Earth's soldiers weren't just learning to use advanced technology. They were learning to use it in ways that no other species had thought of. "The Nexeri think they're helping us evolve past warfare," she said to herself, looking at a map of known Drachnid fleet movements. "But they're actually helping us become better warriors than ever before. When the time comes, both they and the Drachnids will learn that humans don't just fight wars. We master them." On the surface, Earth appeared to be peacefully adapting to Coalition standards. But deep underground, humanity was preparing to show the galaxy why they had survived countless wars on their home planet. They weren't just ready for war. They were ready to change how war was fought across the stars. The Drachnid attack came without warning. Their warships burst out of hyperspace at the edges of Coalition space, targeting the weakest member worlds first. The Coalition's response was exactly what the Drachnids expected: organized, predictable, and completely ineffective. Captain Daniel Harris watched from the bridge of his ship, the Defiance, as another Coalition defense fleet was torn apart by Drachnid forces. The Coalition ships fought in perfect formation, following their standard battle protocols. The Drachnids simply changed their tactics and broke through. "Sir, we're receiving a distress signal from the Nexeri command ship," said Officer Jane Miller, her hands moving quickly over the communication panel. Daniel nodded. "Put them through." The screen showed a Nexeri commander, his blue skin pale with fear. "Human vessel, our defensive line is breaking. We request immediate assistance." "About time," Daniel muttered. For 3 months, the Coalition had ignored Earth's offers to help. Now they had no choice. "We'll help, but we do this our way." He turned to his crew. "Battle stations. Time to show them how humans fight. The Defiance moved forward, but not in the way the coalition ships expected. Instead of joining their formation, it dove into a nearby asteroid field. The Nexeri commander's voice came through again, concerned. "Captain Harris, you are not following standard combat procedures. Please align with our formation." Daniel smiled. "No, we won't. Watch and learn." The Defiance's new hybrid weapons powered up. They had combined Earth's old naval warfare tactics with alien technology. The ship carried modified torpedoes that looked primitive but packed Nexeri energy cores inside. They also had kinetic weapons enhanced with Drachnid targeting systems. "Launch countermeasures," Daniel ordered. The ship released hundreds of small devices into the asteroid field. They looked like space debris, but each one contained sensors and miniature thrusters. The Drachnid ships pressed their attack, ignoring the seemingly primitive human vessel hiding in the asteroids. That was their first mistake. "Target their lead ships," Daniel commanded. "Fire pattern Alpha." The Defiance's weapons opened up. Enhanced torpedoes shot from hidden positions, their paths unpredictable as they weaved through the asteroids. The Drachnid shields, designed to stop energy weapons, struggled against the physical impacts combined with energy bursts. Second wave. Now, the small devices they had scattered through the asteroid field came to life. Each one launched itself at the Drachnid ships, attaching to their hulls. They weren't weapons. They were jammers, disrupting the enemy's communications and sensors. The Drachnid fleet's perfect formation began to break apart. Without clear communications, they couldn't coordinate their attacks. The Defiance struck again and again from different positions, never staying still long enough to be targeted. "Sir, look," Jane pointed at the main screen. The Drachnid ships were starting to fire at each other, confused by the jammers and the chaos of battle. Daniel opened a channel to all coalition ships. "This is how you fight an enemy that's stronger than you. Don't try to match their strength. Use it against them." The Nexeri commander watched in amazement as the human ship's tactics turned the tide of battle. The Drachnids, faced with an enemy they couldn't predict or outmaneuver, began to retreat. "Your methods are unorthodox," the Nexeri commander said after the battle, "but effective. How did you know they would work?" Daniel looked at the battle damage reports coming in. "Because this is how humans have fought wars for thousands of years. When you're weaker than your enemy, you have to be smarter. We learned that lesson long ago." As repair crews worked to fix the battle damage, Daniel sent a message to Earth Command. The Drachnids had been driven back, but this was just the beginning. The galaxy was about to learn why humans had survived countless wars on their own world. It wasn't because they were stronger or more advanced. It was because they never stopped learning new ways to fight. Major Patricia Coleman stood before the Coalition War Council, facing representatives from 20 different alien species. After the success of Captain Harris' battle tactics, the Coalition had finally asked Earth for help. Now it was her job to teach them something they had never understood: how to fight like humans. "Your ships are stronger than the Drachnids," she said, pointing to the holographic display of recent battles. "Your weapons are more advanced, but you're still losing. Want to know why?" The alien representatives shifted uncomfortably in their seats. A Nexeri admiral spoke up, his voice stiff with pride. "Please enlighten us, Major." Patricia walked through the hologram, pointing to the Coalition fleet formations. "You fight like you're playing chess. Everything is organized. Everything follows rules. But war isn't a game. It's chaos, and humans are very good at chaos." She brought up images from Earth's military history. "We call it asymmetric warfare. It means you don't need to be stronger than your enemy to win. You just need to be smarter, more creative, and willing to break the rules." The aliens watched as she showed them battles from Earth's past, how smaller forces had defeated larger ones through clever tactics. She showed them guerrilla warfare, surprise attacks, and strategies that seemed to break all military logic. "This is primitive," one alien counselor said. "These tactics are from your pre-space age. Exactly. Patricia smiled. The Drachnids expect you to fight with energy weapons and shield formations. They don't expect spaceships to fight like ancient Earth submarines. They don't expect ambushes in asteroid fields. That's why it works. Over the next few weeks, Patricia worked with coalition forces, teaching them things their advanced civilization had forgotten. She showed them how to use terrain to their advantage, how to set traps, and how to think unpredictably. Your technology is amazing, she told a group of coalition officers during a training session. But you rely on it too much. What happens when it fails? Humans always have a backup plan. She made them practice fighting with minimal technology, using their minds instead of their advanced systems. Many found it frustrating at first, but they couldn't argue with the results. The first test of her training came when a Drachnid fleet attacked a coalition mining colony. Instead of meeting them in open space, the defending ships hid inside a dense dust cloud. They had scattered mining explosives throughout the cloud, modified with coalition technology. When the Drachnids pursued them into the cloud, the coalition ships triggered the explosives. The dust cloud lit up with thousands of detonations, throwing the Drachnid fleet into chaos. The coalition forces struck from multiple directions, just as Patricia had taught them. We lost 3 ships, the colony's defender reported afterward. The Drachnids lost 27. They never expected us to use mining charges as weapons. News of the victory spread quickly. More coalition worlds began requesting human military advisors. They wanted to learn these primitive tactics that worked so well against their advanced enemy. You've changed how we think about warfare, a Nexari general told Patricia after another successful defense. We thought we had evolved beyond such strategies, but we were wrong. Patricia looked at the latest battle reports coming in. The Drachnids were falling back on multiple fronts, confused by the coalition's new unpredictable tactics. But she knew this was just the beginning. Humans didn't become good at war because we wanted to. She explained to her alien students. We had to learn the hard way, through countless conflicts on Earth. Now we're teaching you what we learned. That victory doesn't always go to the strongest. It goes to those who understand that war is about more than just weapons and technology. It's about outsmarting your enemy, adapting to change, and never fighting the way they expect you to fight. Commander Ryan Matthews watched the stars through the viewport of his small stealth ship. Around him, 30 other vessels waited in the darkness of space, their engines cold and their systems running silent. They were about to show the galaxy something it had never seen before. All teams check in, he whispered into his comm unit. One by one, the other ship captains reported ready. They had trained for this mission for weeks, combining old Earth special operations tactics with alien technology. The target was the Drachnid's main supply base in this sector. It was heavily defended by a fleet of warships and automated defense systems. The coalition had tried to destroy it 3 times using traditional attacks. They had failed each time. This is why humans are different, Ryan had told his crews during mission briefing. We don't just adapt our weapons, we adapt our thinking. Their ships were special designs, created in secret Earth facilities. From the outside, they looked like pieces of space debris, broken satellites, and old ship parts. Inside, they carried the latest hybrid weapons and stealth systems. First wave, begin approach, Ryan ordered. 10 ships drifted forward, looking like random space junk floating toward the Drachnid base. The enemy scanners saw them, but identified them as harmless debris. Second wave, launch drones. Hundreds of small drones, each no bigger than a human hand, separated from the debris ships. They too had been disguised, their energy signatures masked to look like common space radiation. The Drachnid base's powerful shields were designed to stop ships and energy weapons, but they didn't stop tiny drones that looked like background radiation. One by one, the drones attached themselves to the shield generators. This is how humans have fought for centuries, Ryan said to his crew. Find the enemy's weakness. Strike where they least expect it. Never play by their rules. The drones activated simultaneously. Each one released a burst of energy that matched the shield's frequency exactly. For a fraction of a second, tiny holes appeared in the defensive screen. Third wave, now. The remaining ships burst into action. They shed their debris disguises, revealing sleek attack craft. Each one carried a single missile, a combination of coalition energy weapons and old Earth nuclear devices. The missiles shot through the temporary gaps in the shields. The Drachnids never had time to respond. 20 precision strikes hit the base's key structures at exactly the same moment. All ships, full retreat, Ryan ordered as the base erupted in a series of explosions. His fleet vanished back into the darkness of space before the Drachnid reinforcements could arrive. Hours later, at the Coalition Command Center, alien officers watched recordings of the attack in amazement. "You destroyed their strongest base," a Nexari admiral said, "with only 30 small ships and no casualties." How? Ryan explained the mission step by step. How they had studied the base's defenses for weaknesses, how they had combined different technologies in unexpected ways, and how they had used deception instead of brute force. "This is what humans bring to warfare," he said. "We don't just fight. We study, we plan, we think in ways our enemies don't expect. Every defeat in our history taught us something new. Every victory showed us a better way to fight." The alien officers began to understand. Humanity's gift wasn't superior technology or strength. It was their unique way of thinking about war, a combination of creativity, adaptability, and lessons learned from countless battles. "The Drachnids are strong," Ryan told them. "But they fight like warriors, with pride and power. The Coalition fights with technology and rules. Humans, we fight with our minds. We take what works and leave what doesn't. We learn from every battle, every enemy, every victory, and every defeat." As reports of the successful mission spread through Coalition space, something changed. The aliens stopped seeing humans as primitive warriors. They began to see them as teachers, showing the galaxy a new way of thinking about war, one that had been forged in the fires of Earth's long, violent history. Admiral Mary Sullivan stood on the bridge of the Earth flagship Victory, looking at the largest fleet gathered in Coalition history. 5,000 ships waited for her orders, vessels from every Coalition species, all of them now trained in human combat tactics. The Drachnid Empire had gathered their forces for one final battle. Their main fleet, nearly 7,000 ships strong, was approaching the Coalition's core worlds. This would decide everything. "All fleet commanders, report in," Mary ordered. One by one, the alien commanders confirmed their readiness. Each fleet had been trained in different Earth battle tactics, but none of them knew the other's roles. This was part of Mary's plan. "The enemy expects us to fight as one fleet," she told her officers. "Instead, we'll fight as 100 different fleets, each with its own strategy. Chaos is our ally." The Drachnid fleet appeared from hyperspace, their ships arranged in an aggressive attack formation. Their admiral sent a message to all Coalition forces. "Surrender now," the Drachnid voice boomed. "You cannot hope to defeat a superior force." Mary smiled. "Superior numbers don't always mean victory. Begin Operation Thunderstorm." The Coalition fleet split apart, breaking into smaller groups. Some ships charged forward, others retreated. To the Drachnids, it looked like the Coalition forces were in confusion and disarray. "Now," Mary commanded, "show them what humanity has taught you." A group of Coalition ships led by Captain Harris emerged from behind a moon, using gravity to accelerate their attack. Another fleet, trained by Major Coleman, scattered sensor-blocking clouds across the battlefield. Commander Matthews' stealth ships struck from hiding places throughout the combat zone. The Drachnid fleet's perfect formation began to break apart as they faced dozens of different attack styles at once. Each Coalition group fought differently, using tactics from different periods of Earth's military history. "They're trying to counter our attacks," Mary's tactical officer reported. "But every time they adapt to one strategy, they become vulnerable to another." Mary nodded. This was the art of war that humanity had mastered over thousands of years. Not just fighting, but understanding how to combine different tactics, how to think in ways the enemy couldn't predict. "Launch the final phase," she ordered. Hundreds of small ships suddenly burst from the hangars of larger vessels. They were piloted by mixed crews, humans and aliens working together, combining their different strengths. They flew in patterns that seemed random but were actually carefully planned to create maximum confusion. The Drachnid fleet, already struggling to counter multiple strategies at once, began to fall apart. Their rigid command structure couldn't handle the chaos of fighting an enemy that refused to follow any predictable pattern. "Their flagship is exposed," Mary announced. "All forces, execute final attack pattern." The coalition fleet struck as one, but from 100 different directions, using 100 different tactics. The Drachnid flagship, surrounded by chaos, fell to a combination of ancient Earth naval tactics and advanced alien technology. Hours later, as the remaining Drachnid ships retreated in defeat, the Coalition Council held an emergency meeting. The Nexari leader spoke first. "We owe humanity an apology," he said. "We thought your warlike nature was a sign of primitiveness. We were wrong. You haven't just mastered war, you've turned it into an art form." Mary stood before the council, her uniform still bearing scorch marks from the battle. "Humans don't love war," she explained. "We've just learned more from it than any other species. Every conflict in our history taught us something new. We learned to adapt, to think differently, to find ways to win even when we seemed outmatched." The council voted unanimously to remove all restrictions on Earth's military development. More than that, they asked Earth to establish a new military academy to teach their philosophy of warfare to all coalition species. As Mary looked out at the stars that evening, she thought about humanity's journey. They had gone from being seen as primitive warriors to being recognized as masters of combat strategy and tactical innovation. The galaxy had learned what Earth's long history of warfare had taught humanity. True strength in battle comes not from superior weapons or numbers, but from the ability to adapt, innovate, and think in ways your enemy never expects.